What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Case Digital. My name is Zach, and in today's video, we're answering the question of how to convert a datetime object to a string in Python. So, without further ado, let's hop right in and start coding. So, to convert a datetime object into a string, we obviously need to get our datetime object first. To do that, if you weren't watching one of my previous videos where I talked about how you convert a string to a datetime object, we know that we're going to be using, with that, we knew that we were going to be using the datetime package. That's the same thing for today. So we got to import that. So import datetime. And then to get our current datetime object, what we're essentially going to do is say date object is equal to datetime dot now. And what this will do is this will give us the current date and time in an object format that we can then use. And then so I can say print date obj, and then I'll also print out the type so that we can see that it's not a string, because it'll look like a string, but it's going to not be a string, right? And that's what we were trying to figure out today. So I'll go ahead and rerun this, and essentially you'll see that this will print out that today is December 22 of 2023, and the current time is 7 in the morning. And the datetime object is that right there. So how are we going to convert this into a string and in a string format that we want, right? So let's go ahead and start talking about that right now. All right, so now that we have our date object, I'm just going to add a print right here really quick so we can separate our outputs, right? Times 80. And then what this will do is essentially create a line with 80 dashes, right? So the very simplest way that you can create a string or convert a datetime object to a string is by simply saying, we'll say date string is equal to, and then I just do the string and wrap that around the date object. And just like that, we go ahead and reprint this and fill in the date, replace the date object with date string, and we go ahead and rerun this. You'll see that I get the exact same output, and it is actually a string and not a datetime. And there you go. That's how you convert a datetime object to string. No, okay, I'm just joking. You're probably wondering, hey, how do I you could be wondering this. I just need to get it to a string. The other thing is like, I want to get it to a formatted string, right? And so that's maybe saying, like, rather than saying 2023-12-2022, I want to say 12. I want to output 12/2022/2023, and then my date and time, but I only want the, say hours, minutes, and seconds, and not milliseconds. So how do we go ahead and do that? Let's talk about that. All right, so now that all joking is aside, and even though this is a way of how you can convert a datetime object to a string, what we're really probably after is how to convert it to a formatted string. So like I mentioned before, rather than saying something like 2023-12-2022 and the time information, we can say, let's do the month first, backslash, the date or the day, and then the backslash in the year. So essentially what we're looking for is, we make a comment here, we're going to say month/day/year, and then we can say space, and then we're going to go say hour, min, and we'll just do second, and we won't do the milliseconds. We'll take that off, right? So if we want this format, what we need to do is we need to leverage a function that the datetime object or the datetime package has. So we'll say date string 2 is equal to date object dot. And if I start typing string, you'll see that two things pop up: string f time and string p time. The p time one I mentioned in a previous video, where that is how you basically give it a formatted string, and then you tell it the format that it's in, and then that'll convert it to the datetime object. But what we want is to be able to say, hey, here's my datetime object, which I have right here, and I want to then give it just a format, and it'll convert it into that string format. However, we have to pass in the format that we need. So how do you know the format? Well, if we hop on over to the documentation within Python in the datetime package, there is basically this section under datetime that is called the string over here. It's the string f time and string p time behaviors. Well, if you scroll down, basically this gives you all of the information in string format that you need to help you format your string. So for example, if we're looking for the weekday that we want to put, we would use a /w. If we're looking for the day of the month, which is what we're going to use, we'd use a slash or a parentheses d. And then you could say, hey, we could do stuff with the month abbreviated, or we could say the full name of the month or the zero padded month. So for us, again, if we go back over to what we're looking for the month, the /day/year. So let's start with that. So if I go back over here to the month, and we just want to do it in like kind of like the month with the number of the month. So that would be something that's right here, 1 through 12. So that's going to be parentheses lowercase m. So if I come back over to my thing, I can say parentheses lowercase m, and then we say what format we want it in is the backslash. Now let's hop back over and find what the day is. So if we do the day of the month as a 0 padded decimal number, so basically 1 to 31, that is going to be parentheses with the lowercase d. So parentheses, lowercase d. We'll do another backslash, and then let's go find the year. And for us, there's a year without the century, so that's this one, which we don't really want because we want to say like 2023. And so that would be kind of the year with century as the decimal number, and that's going to be a parentheses and a capital Y. So parentheses, parentheses, capital Y. So just like that, let's go ahead and rerun. Let's go ahead and run this. I know it doesn't have our hours and minutes, but I'll show you that here. I'll add that here in a minute. But if we just go ahead and run this, what you'll see is what was originally our datetime object right here. We are now going to print out this into a format of this current format, which is just going to be the month, day, and year, all in the kind of number format. So if we go ahead and we rerun this, and I'll put another actually separator here, and if we go ahead, and then you'll see that just like that, our original datetime object is there. Our formatted, our string, our easy conversion to a string is here, which is the same thing. And then, excuse me, and then we have our format we just did, which is the month, backslash, the day, backslash, the year. And you can see that that is also a string object there as well. So just like that, we've leveraged a function within the datetime package or module to essentially convert that datetime to just the date, right? So what happens if we still want the date. We still want that date in there, or that time in there with our date. So how do we go ahead and do that? Well, you just add to your format. And in our case, if we wanted to say date, space, time, what we can do is come in here and I can say a space, and then we just go back over and we go back over the documentation over here and we find out, hey, give me the time. So if I want to do a 12-hour clock, I can do parentheses capital I. If I want to do a 24-hour clock, I can do parentheses capital H. In our case, let's go ahead and do the 12-hour clock. So we're going to go ahead and say parentheses, or not parentheses, percent, capital I. And then we're going to say, well, we want it to be time format, so we're going to give it a colon. And then let's go find the minutes. So we come down here and we say the minute as a padded 0, and that's a capital M. Percent, capital M, colon, and then we just want the seconds, and the second as a padded 0, and that's just a percent, capital S, percent, capital S. And if we want just that, we can go ahead and rerun this, and that'll update that bottom string to contain the date and time. And look at that. So in our previous one, simple conversion, it had the hour, minute, second, and millisecond. In this case, with this format, we're saying just give me the hour. So give me the date, and then give me the hour, minute, and seconds, just like that. So you can go ahead and add on stuff to like this, like if you wanted to say AM or PM. So if we wanted something like that, we would just come down here and we'd look local equivalent to either AM or PM, and we say, well, and then that's a lowercase p. So if I go ahead and rerun that, you get that it is December 22nd, 2023, 7:42, almost 7:43 in the morning, as we're making this video. So just like that, that is how you can basically convert a datetime object to a string in Python by just leveraging this strftime function and then providing it a format that you want to output it in. And if you aren't familiar with the formats and you can't ever memorize these, because trust me, I cannot. And so what I always do is I have to go over to this documentation. I have to look up, okay, well, I want to leverage, hours in the 12-hour clock format, the minutes, the seconds, and the time zone if we want to put it in, or whether it's AM or PM, or, I want to use the full or the abbreviated month, string versus the full versus the number. And so just like that, that's how you convert it. And and then so basically, again, leverage this format. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Again, thank you so much for watching this video. And again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Or there is a link to a Google form that you can go ahead and fill out and request basically any video that you're looking for. Or for any question that you're looking to have answered, because that's kind of where I'm just having people put in their information, so that way if you're saying, hey, Zach, I have this question that's not related to this video, but maybe you can make another video on it, go ahead and fill out that Google form, and that's kind of helps me know what people are looking for, what they're getting stuck on, the questions that they have, and that'll help me create videos on the stuff that you guys need and or want. So go ahead and fill that out, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because this is kind of where we learn about software development, Python programming, and basically any other questions that are related to those two topics. So until next time, keep on programming.